Today my postcard is very much on Her Majesty's service. It's stamped with Windsor, Royal Windsor, in the Royal County of Berkshire. Windsor has had a royal connection at least since the 11th century, when a strategic stronghold was built on the hill overlooking the Thames by William the Conqueror. The town grew up alongside the castle and river and has had a long and varied history. Some of Britain's most eminent names have been here. Samuel Pepys thought it was the most romantic castle in the world. Geoffrey Chaucer lived here as valet to King Edward III and Richard I. William Shakespeare wrote The Merry Wives of Windsor here in 14 days. And that hotel, the Hart and Garter, once the White Hart, is mentioned in it. It was first performed in the castle in front of Elizabeth I in 1597. Theatre Royal Windsor, has there always been something on this spot, theatrical?
There's been something on this spot since 1815, and the theatre that was built in 1815 burnt down in 1908 and was quickly repaired, and the theatre that we are now in has been here since 1910.
Right.
But what I can tell you is that what is most relevant, I think, to the modern era of this theatre is that a man called John Counsell, a then young actor and producer, stopped this theatre being a cinema, which it had become, in 1938, and launched his very successful Windsor Repertory Company. And it ran continuously, first 48 years run by him and then 10 years run by me, until the summer of last year when we got into a bit of difficulty and closed down temporarily.
You collapsed, didn't you?
We collapsed. Let's be honest, we collapsed.
You collapsed.
But it was a good innings, 58 years, single management.
I think it's wonderful. Then you collapsed. What I don't understand is, though, why you've never done The Merry Wives of Windsor.
We've obviously been waiting for the suggestion to be on television. So now, from now on, we have no excuse.
You must do it. Well, we're in the oldest part of Windsor now. This is how it would have been 500 years ago. So this is Old Windsor, and up there we've got the warrant to execute King Charles I. As you know, he got beheaded, and one of the signatories was Oliver Cromwell on there. Oh, now this is what you really want to know about. This is where Nell Gwyn lived. I don't need to say too much about who Nell Gwyn was. You've seen enough oranges around there, haven't you? But Nell Gwyn was the mistress of King Charles II. And it was from one of those windows, as King Charles II was walking past here, that she threw his baby down to him and said, "Name your son." Well, the king, of course, didn't want to acknowledge his son because it was out of wedlock, but he called him the Duke of St. Albans. Now, what he did with the baby afterwards, I just don't know. I can regale more regal tales of what's happened in Windsor Castle over the years. You may have heard of that ceremony, the Order of the Garter. Well, it started when King Edward III was having a little dance in there with a lady called Margaret, and her garter dropped to the floor. And all the lords and nobles who were dancing, all the men basically, turned round and saw the garter, and they all stood back and were thinking, to which King Edward III turned to them and said, "Honi soit qui mal y pense," evil to those who evil thinks. And you know, that is just what's on the royal coat of arms to this day. King Henry VIII's gate. He built that gate when he got married to Queen Catherine of Aragon. And in fact, there's a pineapple that you can see in that little coat of arms up there, on that side, in that corner. And that's a symbol of fertility. Of course, didn't do Catherine much good because she bore him no sons. But Henry VIII does lie at rest there next to Jane Seymour in the chapel. And of course, she was the one queen who did bear him a son. So the pineapple worked for her, but not for poor old Catherine. Sad, eh? You know, I've just found out that Sir Christopher Wren did a lot of work on Windsor Castle. I didn't know that. And he actually lived in this house, designed it, built it. Well, you would if you're Christopher Wren, wouldn't you? St John's Church you see today was built in 1822. but it is on the site of an original church that goes back to Henry I and is referred to by Henry II in 1184 as having been around for a while. The royal pew was regularly used by Augusta, daughter of George III, and then by George V and Queen Mary. When members of the royal family come here to pray at St John's the Baptist Church here in Windsor, then that's where they sit. And that particular altar rail came from St George's Chapel in Windsor Castle. And those chairs are by someone called Grinling Gibbons, who everyone keeps telling me is really famous and very important when it comes to carving wood, presumably. He's done stuff at Hampton Court and Dorney. But it doesn't mean a thing to me, apart from the fact that they look quite nice. Now, I've got a very short time to take you by the shortest route to the shortest street in Britain. Are you keeping up with me? There it is, Queen Charlotte Street, the shortest street in Britain. Oh, look, an old tea shop here. I just fancy something, an ice cream or something. Lovely. Can I have an ice cream? Lovely, thanks very much. Lovely. Oh, that's a big one. Thank you very much. Thank you. Lovely. Look. Lovely. Now watch very carefully. That was Neil, the Grim Reaper, standing guard with his scythe in front of the dungeons of Windsor. Here you can see the gruesome and bloody side of Windsor's history. The crimes and their punishments are frighteningly recreated to give a taste of what it must have been like living here from the 13th century on. Now this poor lad, John Dean, he was sentenced to death at Abingdon Assizes. Abingdon was then the county town of Berkshire. And he's about 8 or 9 years old, presumed to be the youngest person ever executed in this country. And his crime was that he set fire to part of the Hart and Garter Hotel, which you've actually seen in the High Street. If you were accused of witchcraft, you could be burnt at the stake in front of the castle. And highwaymen like Claude Duval were hung for a penny, hung for a pound. That's what happens when you go on too much. Now, I came to Windsor and I didn't expect to bump into a very good friend of mine, but here he is. It's the Grim Reaper. How are you, Grim?
I'm fine, thank you.
There he is. That was his Grim Reaper voice. How do you normally speak?
I normally speak like this.
There we are. Not much difference, really. Oh, dear me. Oh, dear. And when you've had your fill of some of Berkshire's history, just 2 miles from the centre of Windsor, near Ascot, is a family theme park where there's all sorts of fun. You can even learn to drive Lego style. So let's have some fun, fun, fun! Probably noticed I've had a bit of a throat whilst in Windsor, so I'm going up. Pharmacy, 3rd floor. Now this is good for the figure. Just passed. Now remember, boys and girls, mums and dads, clunk, click every trip. Now that shows how old I am, because Jimmy Savile did that ages ago. What would I do without James? Probably end up in the middle of the garage. I can't go backwards, can I, James? Where am I going? It's red. I've got to stop. Or is that a brake, the other one? That's a brake, the other one. Am I going? Oh, I'm green. I'm off. Oh, this is really sweet. I wonder if I'll get my licence. Licence to kill, judging by the way I was driving by the garage. I'm number 44, which is very lucky, but not for my cameraman, because I'm going to get him. Now, of course, the big question is, did I get my licence? We better go over and see James. James, did I get my licence?
I think you did well and truly deserve a licence, but I haven't got any on me.
Oh no, I've come all this way.
Anthony,
Oh.
Anthony's got one.
Oh, I'm going to have Anthony's
You can have
licence.
Anthony's licence.
That proves I've got to put my photograph there. It's got Anthony's photograph there. That's not me.
Let's change it over.
Yeah, I'll have to change it over. Mind you, Anthony's better looking than me. I think I'll keep his in there. Thanks, James. Oh, it's time to get the hill train home and hit the hay. It's been a very happy day. And I'm even happier now. Sorry I've got to go, but all good things must come to an end. Coming for a last ride.